going to be a short one this week. There was a lot happening. I had a death in the family. I had some scheduling change-ups, which moved some jobs around, which is, I'm usually booked like 12 to 15 weeks in advance. So if one job has to move, a whole bunch of others also do. And I also spent a lot of time filming a rather large project for the Patreon folks. So at this point, I don't have a whole lot of time to make a video, but I have to release one every week, or the mechanical taskmaster that rules my online career here will punish me for several weeks by limiting views, taking away all my money. So I'm going to cover a few things that have come up recently, and maybe fix a lap steel. The first thing on the list, though, is I need to sharpen some stuff. People frequently ask me to make a sharpening tutorial, and I've covered the subject in bits and pieces in the past. My view, having taught sharpening seminars at trade shows and in a classroom situation, is that the technical information is now so widespread that it kind of gets redundant. There are lots of great books that have been published, excellent YouTube tutorials. Every single woodworking magazine has a sharpening section. None of it really replaces the hours spent practicing it, though, right? And it's even better if you're working in a deadline situation. It can also be helpful if you have access to expensive equipment like this Veritas sharpening system. That really speeds things up. I spent better part of 12 years sharpening everything by hand using a stone. There is not one single system that will work for everybody. Everyone is different. Everyone's sharpening needs are different. If you pick one popular setup, be it stones or abrasive papers or a machine, and then stick with it, eventually you're going to hit upon a formula that results in something that's satisfactory. The other reason I don't usually show off my sharpening skills is I tend to stop when a tool is functional. It doesn't look so good some of the time. Functional sharpness is aligned with an old school mentality from the trades. In most instances, it's not important for a tool to be as sharp as it possibly can be. Sharpening a blade through finer and finer grits to the point of mirror perfection is really only necessary if the wood surface produced by that tool is going to be the final product. In virtually every step of guitar production, we use abrasive papers to blend and fair out the surfaces, and that actually takes us a step back from what the tool will leave behind if it's ultra sharp. 5 extra minutes spent sharpening really equates with 5 minutes of lost income. So, while I've built a couple of guitars using edge tools only and no sandpaper at all, they were fine, but not what modern players really expect to see from a guitar, but I found it a useful exercise. As a repair person, I'm often cutting into unknown territory, and that's why I, like a lot of us, use disposable surgical scalpel blades. I can buy them in a pack of 100, they're sharper than sharp, and if I run them into something like crystallized hide glue or cured polyurethane or a hidden piece of metal, it doesn't set me back half an hour in sharpening. People frequently ask about the blade holder I use, which is called the Veritas Carver's Knife, available at Lee Valley. It works for me, but it might not be for everyone. I've got fairly large hands, and it's long and it's relatively heavy, but I'm used to it. Other people like thin, short blade holders like they use in surgery. If I do manage to damage the tip of a sharp scalpel, which is not hard to do, I will frequently touch it up on an 8,000 grit ceramic honing stone and then get back to work. Up next, a short discussion on aesthetics. I had a customer this week with a Harmony Sovereign, an H1260. He remarked that if it wasn't for the headstock and the bridge, it could pass for an old Martin, which is something Harmony owners often say. And I said, well, I always thought it was weird that Harmony traded design excellence to save on the cost of a single piece of fret wire. And he said, why? And I said, have you never noticed that these things only have 19 frets? And because of that, the sound hole is moved up towards the heel about half an inch. And that's why they give you a very different visual impression from a Martin Dreadnought. Things look squashed. Here's another one that showed up in my feed the other day. Disregard the anachronistic pickguard. That's not original, but concentrate on the body shape. Does that look like a Martin? To me, they always look like they were drawn by a comic book artist who didn't have great visual reference. Big John Buscema. He's a legendary artist. Anytime a Marvel superhero in the 1970s encountered a hippie rock band, those guitars would be very hard to play. But see what happens when I add back that extra fret and move the sound hole and bridge back down to where Martin would put them? It looks very different. The harmony somehow looks more harmonious.
It's time once again for another hot, buttery perloid infusion. The mother of toilet seat is strong with this one. This is a National lap steel, model 1056, which was a long-lived workhorse in the National line. It first came out around 1940. Production was spotty during the war years, but it came back strong and lasted all the way to 1968. The serial number here suggests this example is from 1964, according to something I read in an unverifiable post on a steel guitar forum. It's quite attractive. Sparkles with the light of 1,000 suns. It's got distinctive and memorable fretboard markings, suitable for tattooing. The classic insert National Valco Supro style plate, integral bridge and pickup and electronics package all in one. What I like about this one is the wee little knobs. Sometimes it's possible for a knob to be too big. Let us plug it in and see what it's doing. Now here's the thing with these. Better hope and pray you have a right angle jack, because, you know, they had 25 years to get this design right. It's exactly where your wrist wants to go. Hey, the tone works as a volume. Snip all the strings in one go, otherwise the other luthiers will laugh at you. Well, I think that probably caused some tuning issues. Just a couple of big screws holding the plate on. I like the finish on this plate. It looks like it's been shot blasted and then parkerized or something. Very stubborn. Is it possible that these screws, which actually hold the pickup together, run into the body? It's been way too long since I've taken one of these apart. I think not. Machine screws. Maybe? That feels more positive. Yes, you tricky. Supro likes to do that, using pickup mounting screws to hold plates on. Self-contained unit there. 85 degrees Celsius. Interesting. You can see this perloid material is a thin skin of plastic that's thermoformed over top of the pre-routed parts. And they literally did use this to make toilet seat covers and other bathroom accessories in the 40s and 50s. Let's have a look at the pot codes and see if we can confirm the date. These look like stack pull pots. And yes, 304 is the stack pull code. 6420 on that one. And 6435, which would be, was that August, September 1964 or after? Things look in good condition. Gonna hose it down with some electronics cleaner. And these a lot because they're really dirty. Dust it off a little bit. The boards on lap steels tend to get pretty dusty and dirty because no one ever touches them. But you got to be careful cleaning them because these are, of course, stenciled or silk screened. And sometimes the paint is just holding on by a thread, so light touch. The player wants to tune this in open G, and this is a fairly long scale for a lap steel. I think it's 23 inches. So I got this set of 11 to 56s, which should get us in the ballpark, but I'm going to switch out that top string, the D, for 13, just to give us a bit more tension there.
This nut is so floppy. I'm going to put a little daub of glue under there. Look at the way it's cut. It's got a little shelf on the back side. Widen that slot just a little bit. Alright, they are a great sounding pickup. This is all tuned up. You can play Dust My Broom or the intro to Miami Vice.